requires an equal partnership between parents, students, and District 64. As a student in District 64, you must take proper care of your device. You must use your iPad in a responsible and ethical manner. This means that you must follow the rules that are outlined in the D64 One-to-One Digital Learning Program Handbook. This handbook can be found under the technology section of our district website, d64.org. Students must also obey school rules and the acceptable use policy and take proper care of their devices. In an in-person learning setting, students must remember to bring their device to school on a daily basis. Family members should help students by talking about values and standards that students should follow when using a device. Families should also monitor students' internet activity and instruct students on how to be a good digital citizen. Finally, family members should help students maintain the iPad as a one-to-one learning tool in the pursuit of academic success. Some ideas and tips for families include having a family planning meeting regarding the iPad. One idea is to have a designated place at home to keep devices for charging and off time, the time in which a student isn't using the device. Finally, family members should communicate with their child's teacher about what the iPad might be used for within school. District 64 is expected to provide a device for student use, as well as internet access when students are at school. District 64 also provides internet filtering and an effective learning environment for seamless integration of one-to-one learning. In District 64, we use a web filtering system called Securely. All iPads are set up to provide filtered online activity through this system. While these measures are not foolproof, internet filters layer in safety for students as well as monitoring their online activity. Students must take proper care of their iPad. They must be gentle with the device and keep it clean. They should never eat food or drink anything near the device. iPads must always be transported in the provided case, and students must make sure that their name is properly displayed on the case for easy identification. Finally, stickers and personal decorations must not be adhered to the devices. One helpful tip is to use a microfiber cloth to help keep the iPad clean. Loaner iPads are available in each building for students that do not have their device that day. However, loaners are limited and students may get a consequence after an excessive amount of loaner checkouts. If you're having issues with your iPad, make sure to first restart your device and check the Wi-Fi connection. If problems persist, please contact your student's teacher right away with any issues. Teachers will then help troubleshoot and direct assistance as needed. If you continue to have issues with your iPad, please visit the PowerSchool Parent Portal, the website you use to register your child, and complete a technology support ticket. Once the ticket is completed, your building technologist will reach out to you. The iPads have been purchased by District 64 and carry a standard 1-year warranty. The District 64 Tech Department will manage the facilitation of all warranty repairs. These repairs do not include physical damage. Here's some more information about how to use an iPad.
Welcome to iPad Basics, where we will cover the fundamental aspects of iPad hardware and software that you will need to know to troubleshoot in your classroom. The sleep-wake button, or the power button, turns the iPad on and off. To turn it on, you press and hold the button for about 3 seconds until you see the Apple logo appear. The sleep-wake button also locks the screen or puts it to sleep, as well as wakes it from sleep. The home button will also wake the iPad from sleep. Press it again to unlock and it brings you to the home screen. I will show you this menu shortly, but I'm going to go in here to start a screen recording so that you can better see what I'm doing. On the right side, near the top of the device, you have your volume up and down buttons. You have 2 cameras and microphones. One is on the back side, and the other is on the front at the top center. The speakers are on the bottom. The headphone port is on the upper left corner, and the charging port is found at the very bottom, right below the home button. You'll notice that there are dots near the bottom of the screen. This tells you how many pages of apps you have, and as you scroll, the respective dot lights up to tell you which page you're on. A single press of the home button brings you back to home position or the first page. A swipe up from the bottom of the screen does the same exact thing, it's just your preference. If you double press the home button, it pulls up your recent apps that are sitting in the background. This allows you to quickly bounce back and forth between frequently used apps without having to find the app again. You can also pull it from the bottom of the screen and pause to accomplish the same thing as double pressing. The screen allows you to quit or fully close apps, which is useful if you're experiencing issues or need to refresh the app. You can choose whichever one you need in any order, and there's no need to constantly close out of these. If you swipe down from the top center of the screen, this pulls up your notification center, which you really don't have a need for, but it's good to know what the different gestures do. If you swipe to the right, that pulls up different widgets, which again, you'll more than likely not use, but good to know when or why that pops up. If you pull down from the center of the screen, it pulls up the search function and Siri suggestions, which includes recent or frequently used apps. If you're having trouble finding an app, search for it here by typing in the name. Open any app by tapping on its icon. Minimize any app by pressing the home button once. Or if you want to be fancy, you can do this hand gesture. Now, if you swipe down from the upper right corner, this pulls up your control center. This is where you and the students have quick access to things like airplane mode, which turns off the Wi-Fi. And these buttons toggle Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on and off. You can control the brightness of your screen. You can also control the volume here, maybe if the buttons stop working. This is the rotation lock button, so if the iPad isn't rotating, check to make sure that didn't get turned on. The crescent moon icon is do not disturb, so you don't get any notifications. Here's another way to access the camera. And screen mirroring is what you would use in the classroom to project what is on the iPad onto your classroom projector, and you would select your computer from the list. Now, what students will inevitably do is delete an app. This is done by pressing and holding any app icon, and honestly, most of them are probably just trying to open the app and do this on accident. All the apps start wiggling, and then they try to open the app again, and they can't read, so they just keep tapping, and they end up deleting the app. They will also end up moving apps and creating folders, knowingly or not. Just know that you can undo all of this by doing the same actions of pressing and holding and dragging. Press the done button in the upper right-hand corner to exit this mode. When an app does get deleted and you need it back, we're going to go to an app called Zulu Student. It is a purple icon with a fingerprint-like leaf picture. If you can't find it, search. Type in student and it should populate, then tap on the icon to launch the app. You will find all apps that belong to or are assigned to your grade level under resources. From this list, you can download apps that aren't on the iPad by default, but keep in mind that you can run out of hard drive space quickly, and the more apps you download onto it, the slower the device will run and prevent you from taking pictures, video, etc. You can remove apps here in addition to deleting them as shown previously. If there is an app that you want, just tap Get. If you do not see the app in the list, it may be one that automatically downloads back on after a while. If it doesn't auto download and you don't see it as an option to download, reach out to your technologist for help.
I will also say that that only gives students access, or you access, to download apps that have been approved by our district. So it's not like the regular app store where you can log on and search for any app for the iPad. If you open this app, it will only allow you to install apps that have been pre-approved.
You tap outside the window to go back a page. You can tap on updates. If you're experiencing issues with an app and have already tried quitting and relaunching, try seeing if it needs an update. Apps should be updated on their own periodically, but there may be a time when the update hasn't been pushed out and you have the option to manually update it. Last but not least, if the iPad is giving you some problems, it's glitchy or slow to respond, turn it off and on again. Do this by pressing and holding the sleep wake or power button for about 3 seconds, and then sliding the button on the screen with your finger. If the iPad is completely unresponsive or will not turn on, then perform a hard reset. This should only be done when the iPad is completely unresponsive. You do this by pressing and holding the sleep wake button and the home button at the same time. Do not let go of these buttons until you see the Apple logo reappear after the device turns off. And then let it boot up as normal. That was iPad basic training. You're practically a pro now. Thanks for watching.
As mentioned in the video, if your device is not turning on, please make sure to connect it to the charger. If it's still not turning on, press and hold the home button and the sleep wake button at the same time until the Apple logo appears. This is called a hard reset. If the device is frozen or unresponsive, this is another time you'd want to perform a hard reset. If an app isn't working properly, double press the home button and swipe up on the window that's showing that particular app. Then relaunch the app for improved functionality. If your device is running slow or acting up, turn it off and on again by pressing and holding the sleep wake button, then sliding your finger across the screen. This year, students will be using the Seesaw Class app to access classes, daily schedules, activities, and messages. To log into Seesaw Class, you will first find the icon that says Seesaw Class. It will have a symbol that looks like this with the blue, green, yellow lines. Once the students access that app, they will select I'm a student. Next, they will select Google/email sign-in, followed by the sign in with Google button. When prompted, click continue. Next, you will enter your student's D64 Google username and password. If you don't know where to find this, you can grab it at the PowerSchool Parent Portal. All of that information is there.
You should have also gotten a piece of paper and student device pickup that has your student Google username and password printed right on it for you.
Then you will click next. To navigate between classes, you'll tap your student's name in the upper left corner to move from class to class. Once you're in the Seesaw app, you will access the particular class and you will see a screen similar to the one here. You will see this main landing page. The name of the class will be displayed at the top, and then there are 3 buttons below. The first button says Journal, and this is where completed activities will appear. The next button with the light bulb says Activities. This is where students will get more information about the activities that they have been assigned. Finally is the Inbox button. This is where you'll be able to find announcements from the teacher, including their daily schedule. Again, to go from class to class within Seesaw, you'll click your child's name in the upper left-hand corner and click the class you want to go to. The Inbox button, like I said, will be a place where you'll be able to find announcements and daily schedules. This will be sent out every single day. The Activities button, the one with the light bulb, this is where lesson activities will appear. 3 categories will appear underneath. The first is to do. These are activities that have been assigned to the student, but they have not yet started working on them. The next option is in progress. This is student work in which they've saved a draft and they need to continue and submit to their teacher. Or if a teacher is asking a child to revise their work, it would appear here as well under in progress. Finally is the done category, and this is work that has been submitted and completed by the student. In addition to the Seesaw Class app, there is also an app called Seesaw Family. This app can be downloaded by a parent onto his or her personal device to access student work after it is completed. Your teacher will be able to let you know when and how to access the family application. Now we're going to talk a little bit about a program called Schoology. Schoology is one of our learning management systems. The main learning management system for students in kindergarten and first grade will be Seesaw, but students may access Schoology at some points throughout the year to access digital textbooks and resources. Here's some information on how to log into Schoology on the iPad.
Hi, this is a quick walkthrough for logging into Schoology on iPad OS. When students first open the Schoology app on their iPads, they will be prompted to log in through their school. They'll tap on the arrow to the right of Park Ridge Community Consolidated School District 64, and then they'll tap on the blue button that says log in through your school. And when they get to this screen, they'll be prompted to enter their Google username and their Google password. So I'm going to sign in with my demo student. Username is doc at studentsd64.org. And then I'm going to tap next and type doc's password. Tap next again. And then you have to tap approve on the screen for Schoology iOS authorization. Wait a few seconds for it to load. And now I see all of Doc's courses in Schoology. And Doc should stay signed in as long as he's signed into Google on his iPad. Thanks for watching.
Once you're logged into Schoology, you will be able to navigate from course to course within the app. Here's some more information on how to do that on the iPad.
This video will walk you through the navigation of Schoology for iPad OS. You can see I'm signed into a student Schoology account right now, and I can tap on a thumbnail for any course to see that course's materials. And then I can tap on folders to expand them. I can tap on subfolders and folders within folders within folders, and then open any of those files that the teacher has added to view them on my iPad. Here's an example of a Google Doc that the teacher added within a folder and how it looks on the student's device. And then to leave, I can just tap on that white arrow in the top left corner. Choose another course. I can look at the materials and scroll through. I can also look at updates that teachers have posted, just like you can on the web-based version of Schoology. Here's an example of what the messages look like and what notifications look like on the student view. And how students can access and edit their account settings in Schoology. And then when they tap on the top left menu, they can choose log out at the bottom, and this will sign them out of Schoology on their device. Thanks for watching.
So again, students may be using Schoology throughout the school year to access various resources and textbooks. Here are some links that you may find helpful, including one that helps you connect to your home Wi-Fi, more information about Apple AirPrint, as well as digital citizenship links with great resources for parents and guardians to use when talking to their students about digital citizenship. Thank you for attending our one-to-one student and parent iPad orientation. Please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions by contacting your school office. Thanks.
All right, so that was the video presentation that you can go back and reference. I do want to stress the most important takeaway today is probably signing in and making sure that you can get onto your student's Seesaw account. If anyone has questions about that right now, please type it in the Q&A, and I'd be happy to try to walk through how to navigate Seesaw so that your students can be successful on day one of learning. All right, so you actually don't need to put in the Google email. You should just click sign in with Google. The password for every kindergarten or first grade student is the same. It's just the number 64. So if you have your students, Google email or username, the password is the number 64. So the login information is going to be under the parent portal. So that's the same place you went to register students. Let me see if I can look up a username and password to show you how to log in as a student. Just give me a minute and I'll do that. The specific apps I think that you'll use primarily on the iPad are Seesaw, Meets or Zoom, depending on your teacher preference, and probably RazKids is usually used a lot at the K1 level. So if you wanted to put those on the homepage to make them easier, that might be beneficial. All right, and let me switch to presenting my Seesaw screen. All right, so again, I'm using this on my laptop. It will look a little bit different on the iPad, but when they open up the app, for the first time, it should say, which are you logging in as? Are you logging in as a teacher, a student, or a family member? And you're going to click student, and you'll click sign in with Google. After they've signed in once, their name should pop up here. I'm going to sign in as a student for the first time. So the very first time you will have to put their email. So I just looked up a student field, and that would be their email address. And if you don't know your student's login information and you can't find the parent portal, anyone who signs on with 2028, I believe, is kindergarten. And then it will be the first letter of their first name and their entire last name at studentsd64.org. So it's the year that they graduate 8th grade in the beginning, and then the first letter of their first name, entire last name, again at students, plural, d64.org. Okay. And again, once you sign on for the first time, it'll ask you if you want to save the password and to accept the terms and conditions, which is why we're trying to have you do all of this tonight so that the students won't have to deal with that on the first day of school. And once you're in the class, you should see nothing yet because your students haven't added anything. And you'll see activities here and an inbox. I'm gonna go ahead and actually sign out of that so that we protect that student's privacy and you don't see the classes that they're in. And then I will navigate you through one of my dummy dwarf accounts.
So just to review, I had a lot of people asking me about the password and a few people asking me if there is a shortcut to do this. Does it automatically save after you put it in once?
They'll still have to select their name when they click sign in with Google, but it should save after they put it in once. All right, anything else, Ms. Galuzzi? No? Okay, so I'm inside of the Sneezy Dwarf account right now. So this is a student account. This is an example of what it would look like. To navigate between classes, you want to click on your student's name and you'll see all of the different classes that they're in. So you should see their homeroom, all of their specials classes, and then if they have any pull-out interventions, primary challenge, CFC, things like that, should all also be on this drop-down menu. my teacher's message for the morning. This is where you're going to log in at the start of each day. You'll log into Seesaw, and you'll see I have an alert here on my inbox. So I can click on that. And this is an example of what a student calendar might look like. Again, each teacher's might look a little bit different, but I can click on it and see the schedule for the day, as well as probably have a link to either Zoom or Google Meet so that I can join in on my class call. And that should always be located on that inbox for the day. If I click on activities, I can see the activities that have been assigned. And if I click on the folder next to a to-do list, I can switch between my math activities, my reading, science, SEL. So if I click on that, it's a little less overwhelming. I'll just see what my teachers assigned for that particular subject for the day. And again, the teachers will walk through how to do the activities and when to do them during class. In case you're curious, there is a to-do list, an in-progress list, which means the students are working on it, but maybe they haven't submitted it yet. And then their completed activities will be under the Done tab. All right, I'm going to pause and look at the questions. I see a lot more questions have popped up.
We have a lot of questions asking what the password is. I'm not sure if they got to the right placement. So maybe if you could go over the signing in one more time.
Sure, so the password for everybody in kindergarten and first grade should just be the number 64. So if you need to write that down, you can go ahead and do that, but that should be all that is. And then I think I could pull up something showing your login if you can't find it on the parent portal. Okay, so here's an example of the Google username passwords for this school year. So if you have a kindergarten student, their login is going to be 2029, the first letter of their first name, the entire last name, at studentsd64.org. That's written up here if you need to see it. And then the password is just the number 64 for our pre-K, K, and 1 students. If you have a student in another grade level and you're wondering about their password, that's the capital D64 and their 900 number. And their 900 number, again, this should all be able to be found in the parent portal if you click on the remote learning button.
I'm not quite sure, but I think there's still some people out there that are a little confused on how to sign in. Can we do just from the beginning one more time? Just the sign in page where you put your email in?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so once you open up the Seesaw app, you're tapping I'm a student. And then you're clicking on sign in with Google. So you're not typing anything in here. This is just saved from the old sign in way, but because we all have one-to-one devices, now we're clicking sign in with Google. And you see, so since I typed her username and password once, she pops up. If your student isn't popping up, then you might have to click use another account for the first time. And this is where you type in the username. So 2029, I think we said if it's kindergarten, first letter of the first name. So my first name is Jessica, I would type J. Then the entire last name. So my last name is Radek at studentsd64.org. And that's the formula. And then you would click next. And again, the password is just 64. For kindergarten and first grade. I'm going to clear some of these older questions with asking about sign-in information. That way we can see if anybody is still struggling with signing in. So, Somebody asked if students can't read yet, is there a way for Seesaw announcements to be read to them by the iPad, or will you need to read everything to them? So Seesaw actually has a great feature that your teachers are aware of, where they can record the announcements. They can record a video of themselves reading the announcements, or they can just record a voiceover of the announcements. So what you saw was just a sample of a schedule, but your K1 teachers can add their voices into the schedule. So that should be coming, and I'm sure it's something they are taking into consideration as well. On the Family Seesaw app, you will be able to see both students' work, but again, that Family Seesaw app is not live as of right now. The earliest it'll be turned on is in September, and it will be up to your teacher to send out information on when it is officially live for their class. They want to limit confusion with too many different apps for the students at once. So we're starting off with the one app, and then they may enable family access a little bit later on in the year. All right, so to find field in Schoology, the Schoology app should be on the students' iPads already. So you should just be able to open it and log in. Type in to find field on Schoology app. The website to access it, as parents, you would still go to Schoology.com. And then you're going to sign up for parent access the first time. And it will ask you if you are an instructor, student, or parent. And the sign up code for Schoology is also found on that remote learning page in the parent portal. So if you're trying and you typed in your student's email and the number 64 and it's still not working for you, you've double checked spelling and everything like that, I would reach out, I would email my classroom teacher, so the teacher that your student was assigned to, so we can double check, and you can go ahead and copy me on that. I'll put my email on this, email classroom teacher, and copy jradek at d64.org. Okay, so if you look at one of the answered questions on the Q&A, I did put my email address as well as directions to email your classroom teacher directly, so we can look up and double check, and I'm happy to pull it up on my end and test it out. That way we can see if there was an error or a typo, or students were, maybe moved around, or classroom teachers were moved. So we can definitely double check and make sure everything's syncing correctly so you're up and running by Thursday. For kindergartners, what app needs to be downloaded to view live video interactions with the teacher in the class? That'll be either Google Meets or Google Meets or Zoom, depending on the teacher's preference. So they will tell you on the first day of school, and I would just have both installed on the iPad ahead of time. It should be installed. I know that there are some syncing problems for sure happening with iPads right now, and the district's aware, and they're trying to push all of those out so they're installed automatically. But if not, again, that video presentation tells you how to go ahead and install it on your student's iPad. It is one of the approved district resources. So you would go to that student app. It's purple with a little leaf. Let's see if I can show you right there. So student, a little leaf, you're going to click on that app right there, and then you'll make sure that Google Meet and Zoom are both installed. So the login steps for Schoology are just to type in the student's Google account along with the password, and that's all they need to do to log in with Schoology. I don't recommend an iPad monitor screen setup if possible. The teachers are all aware that at K1 they all have iPads and that's what they're working with. So you want things to look consistent from one student to the next. Just because if a teacher is giving directions, they're giving directions for the student to be on an iPad, not to necessarily be navigating between two screens. So you're going to use the same email to sign in on the iPad for Schoology that you would use to sign in to Seesaw. So they use the same email for everything. So that 2028 or 2029, first letter of the first name, entire last name at studentsd64.org. They will not see any courses yet. That's a good question. If you logged into Schoology, their courses go live on the very first day of learning. So your Schoology courses are set to open on the very first day of school. So you've logged in, you've done everything you're supposed to do with Schoology. You just won't see the courses yet, and that's okay. I'm getting another which Google account. So again, the Google account that they're using to sign in is their student Google account. And I know we have kindergarten and first grade on this call. So you can find their Google account in the parent portal. But if you need the formula for it, the formulas are up here. If you're having trouble logging into Schoology as for your student, yes, you can email the teacher and CC me. That's definitely an option. In regards to the parent link, if you click on the presentation, that will be shared on the field website probably sometime tomorrow or so after this is all processed. There is a link with how-to directions on how to get that access code for parents. Seesaw. If the Schoology login doesn't work, but Seesaw did, it's the same username and password for both. I would double check spelling. And again, if it doesn't work, it's totally okay to email the teacher and copy me because we want to make sure you're up and running by Thursday. Schoology code. So you don't receive, somebody said, please explain again about the parent Schoology code. You didn't receive any codes. You have to log into that parent portal on Schoology that, again, you logged into the parent, not on Schoology, the parent portal on PowerSchool where you registered your students for classes. There is a remote learning tab. Unfortunately, I don't have a parent preview access to kind of show you guys how to navigate there, but I can pull up the help sheet that will that is linked to the presentation. So let me do that for you. Okay, so this is the presentation that will be linked on the district page at some point. And I'm going to scroll down and look for the Schoology section since we're talking about Schoology. Where is it? All right, maybe it was in the second third. I'm so sorry if we missed that in this presentation. I will go back and connect it so that it will be there when it is uploaded to Field's website. All right, so parent access code, and I'll put this page again on the K1 page for you. But there will be a link to directions to activate the parent account. So for the parent access code, you go to schoology.com, and like I said, you'll select I'm a parent, and the access code is found in D64's PowerSchool Parent Portal. So this is like a very small screenshot on the navigation bar and clicking on remote learning. And then there is a Google Doc with step-by-step directions on how to sign up for Schoology. And right now, I'll go ahead and put that in the Q&A for parent login. So while I'm pasting this, somebody asked, do I mind explaining in general how Schoology is used versus Seesaw? So Seesaw will primarily be used for K1. It's very intuitive. They can click, they can complete activities straight in Seesaw. And it's probably what they'll use in the beginning before they decide to introduce Schoology. Schoology, however, if you were part of remote learning last year, you learned you needed to go one space for your math books online and maybe another one for science. And then they also had Seesaw, and then they'd go somewhere else for online learning and games. So Schoology can be used for our online textbooks and access to some of our online accounts. So if teachers aren't able to post an interactive thing that they need in Seesaw, or they want students to read directly from the textbook, then they might start showing students how to use Schoology in order to access those things, so that students only need to be able to navigate between 2 different apps instead of an endless amount based on resources. And again, that doesn't mean that they won't say, oh, you never ever use Raz Kids or Brain Pop or things like that. They may, but it's to limit the amount of logins and special passwords that they have to know and remember and type in. So that's really the difference between Schoology and Seesaw, at least at the K1 level. All right, and then Catherine said in the Q&A that she did make it in after multiple attempts using the same login info, so to keep trying. Like I said, our systems are syncing, so you might have to give it a couple minutes, or again, try tomorrow, and if it doesn't work tomorrow, then definitely email your classroom teacher and myself so we can try to make sure that that's working seamlessly for you. All right. If neither Seesaw nor Schoology are on your iPad, Ms. Galuzzi, would you want them to message you if the apps aren't on there, or on the self-service?
They should first try the self-service app, the student app with the leaf. If it's not located there, if they could just email me their student name and the number of the barcode on the back of the device. Be sure to include both of those. I need both.
It is okay to rearrange the apps. Only 3 home pages. So feel free to go ahead and do that. I'm sorry, just taking a second to read through. I feel like we addressed the login issue, so if you still can't log in, again, you're going to email your classroom teacher or myself. So in regards to remote access software, Ms. Gluzzi, do you want to take over that one?
I'm sorry, the remote, say it one more time, you kind of broke up for me.
The question was, do you have remote access software on the iPad so your IT team can take over and troubleshoot?
Yeah, I mean, somewhat. It's not exactly maybe what they're thinking of what it looks like, but yes, we can troubleshoot remotely, and that's why when there's certain issues, I might ask for the barcode number on the back. I just had somebody else ask the question about if they find photos on the iPad, do we need to reset the iPad? No. At this point, I would say do not try to reset the iPad. Just send me your issue with the student name and the barcode on the back, and I will take it from there.
If the parent Schoology access code isn't online yet, let's see, then I would also email your classroom teacher, and they will probably forward that to one of us. That I'm not sure who updates that. That might actually be MJ Warden, but we will pass that along to her. Again, sorry, Schoology it's new to all of us with the access code, and we're excited to be able to give that kind of access to parents. So we will work out that kink, but I don't know the answer to that at the top of my head because I thought it would be there. So I will forward that message on to MJ and hopefully have an update on there soon. So I'm glad you learned, or you were able to get onto the parent portal through PowerSchool. And I would just check back there tomorrow or the next day, and hopefully that will be changed. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? It's 6:21, so we have about 8 minutes. I think from scrolling through and reading, a lot of the ones that are still up there are for signing in. So I'm going to look down at 6:20 and below now. And if you don't have any questions, you could feel free to sign off. Again, these will be posted on the field page as soon as we're able to upload everything and process it and get it rocking and rolling for you. All right, there's a link to get to the parent portal, and I can share that in the Q&A for those of you trying to get to the parent portal. All right, so in the question and answer, I typed the link to access the parent portal. So I would bookmark that so that you have that to be able to access all of the remote learning things and various things that you might need throughout the school year.
Seesaw Family, that's not up and running, right? We're going to wait on that?
Yep, they're waiting on that until at least early September. And again, that will be up to the teachers to communicate out with you when that's up and running again and if they're choosing to use that. Not every classroom uses Epic. So if you do have an Epic login, your classroom teacher will communicate out what that login information would be. All right, so somebody's saying the solution for logging into Seesaw is signing in with Google. So yes, for everything you should be signing in with Google because we do have one-to-one devices now, so it's different than last year if you had a student in the district the last year. We're hoping it's easier because it's less for them to have to type or scan. So just sign in with Google, and after you've entered all the information the first time, it should be smooth sailing from there. All right, so Mrs. Govis, I'm gonna go in and fix her account. I think she's newer, so it's possible it didn't sync. So I can go ahead and do that manually for her to switch from a code to signing in with Google. So give me 1 minute and I'll do that so that you can test it out. All right, if you, let's see, where is that kindergarten class? Ms. Goodman, can you help me? I forgot, who is our newest kindergarten teacher's name? I can't seem to find her.
Miss Sanders.
Sanders.
It's Sanders, okay, hold on. Sanders, class settings. All right, so she was the newest one and Seesaw just wasn't syncing the Google email sign-in. So if you have Miss Sanders and you've been trying to log into Seesaw, it should work for you now. I just manually pushed that sync through. So you can go ahead and try that. In Schoology, you were supposed to sign in as a parent if you went to Schoology.com on your own device. On the iPad, you want to think of it just as your student's device. So you would always sign in with the student's Google account for them to be able to access Schoology there. Joanna, the only apps that we were trying to accomplish signing in on right now during the Parent University, it's just, could you log into Seesaw, and if you can log into Schoology. So those are the only two that you had to worry about right now. All right, then it is 6:29. If you had questions that we didn't get to, I sincerely apologize. I tried my best to get to them all in time. My email is listed on there. You can feel free to access me at any time. Again, copy your classroom teachers. But myself and Ms. Galuzzi are really the tech people, so we'll try to help you as quickly as we can. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night. I'm not exactly sure when this will be posted. We've got a couple more sessions tonight, and the other buildings have sessions today and tomorrow. So once the district is able to process all the videos and upload, they'll share it with our building admin, and then they will have it on the website for you. All right, have a great night, everybody.